Hi, do you want to turn the clock back on your health? Now, we've just turned our clocks back this week and gained an extra delicious hour. But wouldn't you like to turn the clock back on your health and start to feel a little bit more like you did maybe 10 years ago? If that's you, then listen in. I've got some tips for you this week that's going to really help. Hi, it's Jules Anderson from Feel Glorious. Now, for most of us, after we hit 40, we can often start to notice those kind of little changes in our bodies and our health. You know, maybe we're starting to feel a little bit stiff, a bit creaky. Things aren't maybe working quite as well as they used to, or we're starting to gain a little bit of weight, particularly around the middle. You know, there's lots of things that go on that often we can dismiss and we go, that's just what happens after you hit 40. But actually, whilst, we can't deny that there's definitely changes that go on, there's certainly things that we can do to address that and actually stop the changes having to happen. We don't have to always feel the way we feel. Changes do happen, but it doesn't mean we have to feel like we're just aching and exhausted and getting old and creaky. So, when it comes to looking younger, feeling younger, having a bit of a spring in your step, there's some really simple things that you can do. So I've just got a few tips this week for you that are going to sort of easy to do, that anyone can do no matter how busy you are, that are really going to help you start to just turn back the clock a little bit and start to feel a little bit more, zest for life, a little bit more kind of youthful joie de vivre. So the most important thing when it comes to thinking about health and aging and healthy approach to aging, it's really important to know, who your friends are, who your foes are. And one of the biggest kind of enemies to health, particularly as we age, is sugar. Now, we've all heard, we've read about, sugar being the new enemy. But when it comes to aging, there's lots of ways that it's really damaging. In particular, it's really going to damage your skin and the collagen in your skin. Now, collagen's the thing that keeps your skin nice and elastic, nice and supple, and kind of young looking. But sugar molecules actually attach to the molecules in the collagen, and they make it kind of stiff and hard. So that's when you're going to find your skin loses its kind of tone and its elasticity and its sort of youth and suppleness. So, the more you can take sugar out of your diet, the more you'll find actually your skin will really benefit. Now, the other thing that it's really going to disrupt your kind of gut flora. So there's a balance of good bugs and bad bugs in your system. And it's important to keep that balance and make sure that you've got a predominance of good bugs, because you need all of those for lots of various processes in digestion. But when there's sugar in the system, bad bugs adore sugar. So the more sugar that you eat, the more you're going to have those bad bugs feasting and then proliferating. They're just going to multiply. And that's when you start to get all sorts of digestive problems. You get bloating, you'll get constipation, you'll get all sorts of nasty pain and discomfort. And then, and that's not going to be fun. And then what that in turn does, when you've got all that going on in your gut, it causes lots of inflammation in other parts of your body, because your gut's kind of connected to everything. Too big a topic to go into today, but it really is connected to so many things that go on in your body. So you want to make sure that you're keeping your gut healthy, and sugar is like number one enemy of the gut, because the bad bugs are like the bullies in the playground. They're going to come in, you feed them the right things, and they're just going to come in and wipe out all your good bugs. And then you need the good bugs for your immunity as well. So again, this time of year in particular, you want to be making sure that your immunity is really high. So again, I'm really all for having treats. A lovely glass of bubbles, a piece of cake is always going to be a big part of my life. And I'm sure for everybody, we've got our different types of treat that we love to have. And it's not about taking those away. It's just being a little bit more discerning about when and where. It's a little bit like, you think of the really good friend that came to stay for a couple of nights on your sofa or in your spare room. And you had great fun the first couple of nights, like fantastic, it's so great, we're here all the time, we're having really good fun. But then, they overstay, and 2 weeks later they're still there. and think about how that feels. You know, the fun's gone out of it. You're probably a bit narky. You don't want to raise it, and you're feeling snappy and a bit annoyed and resentful, and they're, you know, probably feeling guilty, and, you know, and it can really damage not only your enjoyment of life at the time, but it can damage the friendship. So again, sugar, you know, sugar in your body's a bit like that. You know, in small doses, it can actually be really, you know, life enhancing. Those nights when you're out and you're having a lovely celebration and you want a glass of bubbles, or you're out for a birthday and they've got a lovely cake, then, you know, that's really important, and it enhances our enjoyment of life. But you do too much and it's like the friend that's overstayed their welcome. You know, you will not just start to feel the effect in the moment, but you'll actually damage that long-term friendship. You'll damage the long-term health of your body. So just get a bit more savvy about where and when you get, you know, you're allowing the sugar in. Now for me, the biggest no-brainer in the world, because as I said, I do like my occasional treats, but the biggest no-brainer for me in the world is not to have the wasted, you know, you're like wasted little allowance of sugar. So in tea and coffee, you know, I've had some clients that will drink, you know, a dozen or more cups of tea or coffee a day, and each time have 1 or 2 sugars. And that's just such a waste, and it's really damaging. And I will say, in over 10 years of working with clients, I have never, ever once had a client that couldn't give up sugar in their tea or coffee within a week. And now and that's the honest truth, the honest truth. I wouldn't lie about it. And I think the way to do it is accept for 2 or 3 days, the tea and coffee will taste horrible. Just get through it. You know, if you have a bad cold for 2 or 3 days, you'll feel horrible. You get over it. So just accept that for 2 or 3 days, it will taste horrible. But after that, that's a lifetime of then having your tea and coffee without sugar. And then you can use you know, if you want to have your sugar in your life, you can have it for those nicer treats in life rather than just waste it. So one little hint on that, and go completely cold turkey is the easiest way. Just grin, bear it, or grit your teeth and bear it. And within a week, and I've had people who are absolutely staunchly, you know, that my 12 cups a day at 2 sugars client after 3 days had said, do you know what, really don't miss it. Tasted horrible for a couple of days, but actually now it's really nice. We'll never go back, and you know, never has. And none of my clients ever have. So just do that. One tip for the coffee drinkers, little sprinkle of cinnamon. Cinnamon's a really interesting herb because it can actually, its kind of chemical structure tricks your body into thinking it's getting something sweet, but actually it's not having the same effect on your body as sugar would. So that's something that a lot of coffee drinking clients of mine have found a really helpful tip. And coffee drinking colleagues and friends, they've done that and they've gone, wow, yes, it doesn't taste, I don't miss the sugar in the same way. So whether that's short term or whether that becomes your long term little sprinkle in your coffee, it's worth having a go at. So that's certainly number one enemy of the people when it comes to you know, aging in the best possible way you can. Second enemy is stress. Now, stress will shut down pretty much every process in the body other than the ones needed to run away or react to a dangerous situation. You know, the stress it's kind of evolutionary wisdom. We have the stress response in order to help us run away from predators. You know, we're fleeing the tiger. But it's meant to be really short term. We've got enough energy. It's like, boom, you've got enough energy to run up a tree, go and run away and hide, just get the hell away. And then everything's supposed to be, all our systems supposed to be flooded with the kind of anti-stress chemicals to tamp that effect down. Problem with day-to-day life nowadays is that we have daily little stresses that don't really require us to be able to run away or shin up trees at a moment's notice, but it has the same effect in the body. So whether it's that you've just had a row with your kids, or someone's cut you up in traffic, or you've got a meeting that you're dreading, All of those things have the exact same response in our bodies. So we're flooded with these stress hormones, but we're not able to release them all. And what happens when we shut down, when we're flooded with stress hormones, the one thing our body will do is shut down every single process that it doesn't see as necessary. So you can imagine you're fleeing from a tiger. The last thing you're ever going to want to do is eat a big meal. Or go to sleep, which is why when you're stressed, it's very difficult to sleep. So, your digestion and your ability to sleep, your relaxation response are all just going to get completely shut off if you're stressed. Now, when it comes to digestion, and it's really important, when it comes to kind of vitality and energy and youthfulness, you need your digestion to be working, because every single molecule in your body and every single cell in your body is created by what you're digesting and what you're absorbing and what you're then converting in your body. So if that's not working, then your body's not going to get the nutrients it needs. You're then going to you're going to struggle with constipation and bloating, because you'll get this build-up of toxins in your system that you can't digest properly. And then that kind of toxic build-up is then going to cause downstream problems. Any kind of toxic build-up in your body is going to cause your skin to go dull, your eyes will go dull, your hair will struggle, and you'll not have the energy, you'll not have the vitality in your body as a whole, but also in your individual cells. So the more you can do just to become more aware of the little things that just trigger you, just those small irritations and annoyances, start to become aware of those triggers and just start to put in place, sometimes we can just remove triggers from our life. Other times we might have to just reframe how we think about them. Other times we might just need to build in a little more stress relieving techniques into our life, whether it's meditation, yoga, going for walks, doing more gardening, listening to music, whatever it is for you. Find ways to be able to, you're in the car and the traffic jam. It's like, if relaxing music helps, put some relaxing music on. But the more you do that, the more that you'll find that just generally your energy and vitality will improve as a result. And it's one of the best anti-aging secrets, as stress reduction. So again, small steps. You don't have to do anything big, but just take small steps, small things you can do each and every day, and they'll gradually build up, and you'll see those cascade into something that feels completely different over time. So we've dealt with some of the enemies. Two of your biggest friends when it comes to turning back the clock. The first one is sleep. We're such a switched on 24/7 culture, and it can so often be seen as a badge of honor. Oh, I can get through on this much sleep, and oh, I'm a real night owl, I can work into the night. Our view on it's changing a little. I do see that in people. I see it a little in the media, but we've got such a long way to go. And there really is an epidemic of sleep deprivation. And it's something I see in pretty much every single client I work with, some element of sleep deprivation. Basically, if you're not getting a good night's sleep, if you're not waking up feeling refreshed and raring to go, then you need to improve your sleep. It's really important. If you look at the stats around, say, night shift workers, you'll see that actually things like life expectancy are quite significantly lower for people who do shift work than they are for people who do regular work. There is a natural daily rhythm that it's really important to kind of go with that flow. So if you do stay up too late and you don't get enough sleep, you're just disrupting all of your natural body processes. And sleep's needed for an awful lot of cleansing and repair to be done to our bodies at night. It's imagine what would happen to your car if you didn't service it every year. You might get by for a year or two, but after a while, lots of things start to break down, and it's no different in your body. And we've got that opportunity every single night to do the little bit of like the little service of our bodies. So, it's really important that we allow ourselves that. And then finally, if there's one thing that's going to sort of encourage you to take sleep seriously, is the effect it's having on your willpower and your consumption and cravings of carbs. Now, I know lots and lots of people struggle with carb cravings, and they always say to me, but I just need more willpower. I've got no willpower. And actually, it's not about willpower. It really isn't. You can power your way through in the short term. Willpower will never sustain you to continue to resist a body instinct and a body craving, a bodily craving for carbs and sweet foods. You can't just power that through with willpower every single time. You need to put things in place. It's short-term fix. You need to put things in place to stop those cravings happening. And sleep is the number one thing that has to be put in place, because no amount of willpower is going to stop you craving those donuts in the morning, or those bagels, or whatever it might be, the croissants and pastries and toast, if you are sleep deprived. Because when you're sleep deprived, your brain hasn't got enough energy, and your brain will crave glucose. So the best solution to carb cravings is to get more sleep. So if you're only motivated by losing a little bit of weight around the middle, then sleep's a huge number one plan A to have in place. Now, our second friend, our final tip for today, is stretching. Now, there's lots and lots of books and podcasts and YouTube videos and all sorts of advice out there on various anti-aging type approaches. There's very little written about the importance of your spine. Now, when you think about it, your spine, all of our spinal cord has all of our nerves that go from our brain. The nerves go down the spinal cord, which is down our backbone, and then radiate out to every single part of our body. And also our circulation, so our blood supply, is all woven around the spinal cord, and again then weaves out to every single part of our bodies. So if your spine is then getting a bit stiff and rigid, you can imagine that it's like a kind of superhighway. And if there's any kind of restriction, you're going to find that it's like having a blockage. It's like suddenly having an accident on a major motorway that then it's stalling all the traffic, and then the traffic can't then get out to all the places it needs to be. Or like having a kink in a hose. It's just going to cause a blockage. And then if your circulation can't move around all your body, your body's not getting the oxygen, it's not getting the nutrients, it's not getting everything that it needs, which it normally gets from your bloodstream. And the same with your nervous system. If your nerves are getting, and anyone who's had a trapped nerve in any point in their spine knows that can be super painful. But even if before it gets to the point where it's pain, because you've actually pinched the nerve tissue or the nerve fibre, before it gets to that point, it can still sort of become a bit congealed. So what you need to make sure is that the whole of your spinal column and your spine is kept super flexible. And stretching is basically just like oiling the system. But you have to stretch in all directions. So stretch, fold over, do forward bends, stretch back and arch your back. Do, that sort of arching over and curving over. Move from side to side, twist around the spine. All those different movements. Our spine moves in all these different directions. You watch a cat stretch and they're phenomenal. They can stretch in all these different directions, really super flexible. But that allows them to be able to, whip up trees and jump across walls. That's where they get their vitality from. So stretching your spine in all those directions takes a few minutes in the morning, is all you really need. Will really help keep your whole system kind of oiled up, and will help to keep your circulation flowing freely, and help to keep all your nervous system firing off properly and in the right way. And that's the most important thing if you're trying to kind of keep from losing your vitality too soon. The changes do happen in our bodies, but we're exacerbating them with our current lifestyle. So little bit, a few minutes of stretching every single day in every direction is going to make a massive difference. You'll feel the difference very quickly, and all you need is a few minutes. So, hope you've enjoyed those tips, and I'd love to hear how you get on. Let me know if you've tried any of those and what's worked, and any questions. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Okay, bye for now. Telling me to dance, taking a chance.